I'd like to add a point to this section since it's about board staff communication. I'd like to insert a bullet point that
Tell me where.
I'm not sure where exactly. Maybe you could help me with that if I tell you what it is. The board meeting agendas, presentation slides, and accompanying materials be made available to board members by 5 p.m. on the Wednesday before upcoming board meetings and work sessions. And the reason I'd like to add that point is because it's very difficult to receive materials right before the work session and have enough time to go over the presentation, think about it thoroughly, ask intelligent questions. And if we want to do our due diligence, of reading and processing stuff beforehand, it's helpful to have the information ahead of time. And I think if public comments and requests to be placed on the agenda are due by noon on the Wednesday before the board meeting, that at least gives several hours to compile that information and have it available. And I know that in years past, board agendas were always sent out on the Wednesday. And I've heard from other district staff that they used to have presentation deadlines due a week before the board meetings. So that's another reason why I think that's a reasonable time frame, Wednesday before the board meeting.
Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I would agree with it. I think it's just a clear expectation of when we expect information to be made available. And again, it doesn't mean in a certain situation, if it's communicated, hey, something came up, we didn't get something, that there can't be exceptions to it, but at least then when it's communicated properly, I think setting the clear expectation of what we expect as a board, I think is a good start.
May I just ask our more experienced board members at the table and members of our administrative team here, what your thoughts on that are? I could see, I get the points that are being made, and I understand, the benefit to having it earlier, more time to read through it, be more thoughtful, be able to have an informed decision. I can appreciate all those desires and have shared them at times. But I also wonder if it could be limiting to us to have such an early cutoff, particularly if there's something time sensitive that comes up in that time frame between the Wednesday cutoff and the meeting, that we figure out we need to address at this next meeting. Now we could carve out an exception, I guess, of some sort for that. But I also am curious to learn more about what the impact on our staff would be by imposing this sort of deadline. When you're compiling multiple communications, agendas, you're working with, a team, you're trying to get it all together, get everything together, in addition to a bunch of other things that our staff who handle this have on their plate on a day-to-day basis. I'm just wondering what the practical impact would be on staff if we did that.
Dr. Scheiner, do you have any?
Sure. Well, I would say this, when we don't get a packet, for instance, on a work session to maybe later on, it's usually because people are still working on it because of something that has come up. Generally speaking, you'll never ask the board to consider something for a vote until it's been seen in a board newsletter, talked about at a work session, and then asked to vote on at a regular meeting. So I understand where you're coming from. I can tell you that people are spread very thin. This is, one of these years we're going to have a normal school year. It hasn't happened in the last 3 to 4 years, but there's constantly things that we're dealing with that do get in the way. So I would ask you not be so rigid with it. We're doing the very best that we can, but it's at the pleasure of the board, of course. The rigidity does start, because then you start to have to back plan. We tried to get away from giving, for instance, if you ask staff members to volunteer to present at a board meeting, and you got to give them some ridiculous deadline that we've got to have your presentation a week before we actually need it, and then it just starts to back up where it gets to be stale information by the time we get to the board meeting.
If you think that the Wednesday before is too rigid, do you have a different suggestion of a date that might be more reasonable?
I don't think the Wednesday before is too rigid. I think I'm asking for some flexibility because things come up. I don't, again, am never going to ask you to do something that you haven't seen multiple times.
Mrs. Bull?
I would just say, in response to Jessica, your comments and questions, I remember when I joined the board, I think we would get them delivered to our houses on Saturday morning in like a packet, like a printed out packet. So while in an ideal world, I agree with you, with Jessica, that it would be great to have them, Wednesday, Thursday. I wouldn't put that in the handbook because I don't want our team to feel like they have to meet a deadline for the board, and in doing that, they are neglecting something related to our kids. Because I know them, and I know that they meet deadlines that they're given, and I think there needs to be some flexibility there. I think that what we could do is potentially, as a team, board and administration, cabinet, maybe we could say, okay, let's do what we can to try to get the packets by, Thursday noon or Thursday 7 or, whatever it is. I would hesitate to put that in here because I think that, things come up. And I personally, we've had I can think of many deadlines that were missed, and they were missed because, really, people were helping kids.
Without clear expectations, though, you're not able to identify problems. So again, I think from definitely the world that I come in, Scott, I think from learning your experience, the business world, the idea of having a deadline just makes it clear to most people. I think most of our staff are extremely good at what they do. Most people rise to knowing, and they're better off when they have a clear expectation, they have a target, they have a deadline. But again, if we're constantly missing that deadline, then we should be asking ourselves, why are we missing it? And so what do we have to do? It's not that we shouldn't have a clear expectation. That's why I said, to Carol Beth's point, if it needs to be Thursday versus Wednesday, just having a deadline to give us a starting point to say, okay, can we meet that goal? If we are not able to meet that goal, then we should understand why we're not meeting it and try to make an adjustment. We shouldn't then just say we shouldn't have a goal.
I think he just explained to you why they missed the deadline at times.
That was a very broad, you want to have a specific.
I got nothing else to say.
If you want to fix a
answered
problem,
you.
you need to be specific on why you're missing it. Just to say, oh, we're busy. Again, everyone that works for me could say they're busy and that's why they missed the deadline. That's not acceptable.
I think they're
not what he
busy
said.
because they're helping our kids. I think we should
That's
move on.
that's good. That's your opinion. But what's the
No, it's not
facts?
my opinion, it's the fact. Let's move on.
Does anyone else have any comments here in this section? Mrs. Litkouhi?
I'll just reiterate, the reason I suggested Wednesday is because that's the date that board packets used to be driven around to people's houses before even your time on the board. And that's why I suggested Wednesday as a possibility. I also think that it's not unreasonable to put forth a goal like that. And if there are other supplementary materials that happen to come in late for really good reasons and excuses, of course, we would be understanding of that. But it would be nice to have an expectation in place so that we can do our due diligence.
Well, I guess I would just propose that if our plan is to have an informal expectation that's been clearly communicated, that the majority of the board would prefer to have the packet as close to the end of the day Wednesday as possible before the meeting, but that we are going to be flexible and empathetic about the fact that things come up sometimes that derail that goal, that we wouldn't put that in the bylaws then, because then we wouldn't have that flexibility.
Correct.